I'm going to show you some real life examples of worksheets sort of before and after of some of the worksheets that Katie had to work on, and I'm going to show this on the overhead, before and after. Okay, the first one is, this is what everybody else was going to do, studying the parts of the book. This is a worksheet. You would notice a little word bank back here, across and down. So what we did, we decided we're going to highlight it. And this is what Katie had to do. It made life a whole lot easier for Katie. Take a look at that. The green and the blue and the combinations. We gave Katie contextual clues. This is an adaptation. Okay? We have now made Katie's life a whole lot easier in that class. Here is another example. This is another worksheet. This is a worksheet that everybody else was working on, called Your Five Senses. And here's what it looks like. And this was one of our planning sheets. This is just a planning sheet of what Katie would have done. Notice the difference here. This one is more appealing, more graphic organizer. Space is, and again, this was just a planning sheet. And then we would have had this typed up, and Katie would have been working on a modified level. Okay? Here's another one, making of a timeline. Another example, making of a timeline. If you notice, we started to plan. We actually took off the stuff that we felt Katie could not do. We actually erased this part because it did not look good. And our planning sheet during our consultation with Lisa, this is what it looks like. Now, this is what Katie would work on. This is a modified version of what Katie will be doing when others. I want you to notice something important here. What we're doing is we're setting up Katie for success. We're setting up Katie so that she does not feel frustrated and anxious because we are trying to create work that's going to be motivating her to complete this. Okay? Here's one that I really like. This one here is the use of highlighted tape. Yes, you can buy this at a store, and it's just tape of different colors. Okay? And in this highlighted tape, what you have here are the possibilities of where the answers might be, or you're bringing focus to your curriculum material. Just something as simple as that. Okay? This one here, I thought I'd put this one in here for you as well. Take a look at this. This is basic mathematics that we had. Katie could not figure out where she should write the answer. So we actually put a highlighter, yellow going down once and a red one going the other way, so that she would stay on target answering that, so that she could understand how to manipulate her numbers, because she had difficulty with written expression. Okay? And I have, this one's very, very simple. This is the use of scissors, and the skill here is to cut and trace. All we did here, again, we highlighted it, and this is what it looks like for Katie. Okay? And I have several others that I will share with you. Common phrases. Here's another one. Teaching Katie, this is what the rest of the class will do. Notice the word bank. Notice that they have to fill in the blank. And now let's take a look at what we planned for Katie to do during our consultation. Let's take a look. Okay? If you notice here, we took the boxes and we put them closer on top, and we made it a little easier. We also reduced the amount of work as well. Okay? So basically, you can tell here is that all we're doing is taking the existing material. And here's another one with the use of a highlighter, looking at corresponding colors of where you could find the answers to that. Okay? Takes a little bit of time, and in collaboration with your special ed teacher, this can be done. And Lisa was phenomenal about getting this stuff done. But these are real life examples of modifications. Good. Now we're going to go back to stage 1. We're not done yet. We've not even get to stage 2 yet. Okay? So now here's some additional things we did. We also brought in additional resources and materials. Katie loved manipulatives. So while others were working on abstract concepts, Katie worked on concrete stuff. For example, basic addition, she would be using base 10 blocks. Okay? Now we're ready for stage 2. Stage 2, Katie comes to the classroom. This is the preparation in the classroom. The first thing we made sure that the teacher understood, and Lisa and I talked a lot about this, is the use of task analysis. And this is not in your PowerPoint. The use of task analysis. Let me explain that. Task analysis, another word for that is chunking. You're breaking down an individual assignment into its component parts in stage 2. Lisa understood that she's going to give Katie small chunks of work to do on the front end so she feels successful about completing it. Okay? The next piece is we also use a graphic organizer. A graphic organizer is a great tool. We use a web where we show Katie connections of different things she has to do and get accomplished that day. We kept Katie close to up front in the classroom, and we constantly monitored Katie's work. Now, one thing we did that was really cool, I think, is we had a time strip for Katie, and I put that time strip on her desk. It said 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, done. And all Katie did was she would color it in. Every time 15 minutes would go by, and the teacher would say, go ahead and color it. You were on task. And she colored it in. If she was not on task, teacher would say, sorry, Katie, you cannot color that one in. Maybe you'll do better on the next one. So that kept Katie focused, and all it was is a time strip on her desk, keeping on-task behavior at 15-minute intervals. If you have someone with a low attention span, guess what? 5 minutes would be even better. Okay? Something else we did was we also used a peer buddy, because we knew Katie had a love to talk. She loved to talk. Remember I talked about being a social butterfly? So we trained a peer in the classroom to assist Katie and engage Katie in a conversation. And this conversation was about her work, about her academics. It was about where she's at. And this buddy also served to read to Katie because Katie could not read. This buddy also served to check up on Katie's work and help and correct. So Katie had this buddy in class. Okay? The next thing I did was occasionally I would send my teacher assistant to check in on Katie in the classroom. And I trained my teacher assistant on a specific strategy for Katie called cue, do, and review. And this is not in your PowerPoint. Cue, do, and review. All she did, the teacher assistant, was to be able to keep Katie on task academically, and what she did was cued Katie whenever she was on task, and either telling her good job, or if she was not on task, hey Katie, you need to get back to work. And then she did the do, making sure that Katie was accomplishing her task, and then she would do what's called a check, a quick check, by getting feedback from Katie, and would do a quick review if she understood the skill that she just went through. A very simple strategy for every teacher assistant out there. Cue, do, and review. Powerful stuff. Just sit there making sure that they are working through whatever work's being talked about. Okay? The other thing we did was we monitored her work. Lisa would always, when she taught, would come up to Katie, put a hand on Katie. How you doing, Katie? Everything going okay? And she did that every 10, 15 minutes just to let her know that we're watching over her work and we're making sure that she's on task and she's getting her objectives on that particular day met. Okay? The next thing we made sure is that Lisa always repeated directions, because Katie had a central auditory processing deficit disorder. She had to be told, not once, not twice, sometimes up to 5 times, what she has to do. So she would restate the directions, repeat it, and make sure the directions were very clear, concise, and coherent. Okay? The next thing we did for Katie is we actually shortened the amount of work she had to accomplish that day as she did it in increments. Okay? And in addition, Katie sometimes would want to wander off from her seat, and instead of Lisa would say, Katie, please sit. Notice the difference here. Katie, please sit. Before that, Lisa would say, Katie, would you please sit down in your chair? That's too long for a child with a learning disability. So Lisa right away knew we have to shorten everything that we do because of the processing deficit, because everything that goes into short-term memory is there for just a few seconds, and you have to convert that into something meaningful and engaging for it to actually stick. Okay? The next thing we did, this was beautiful, and I encourage all teachers out there to do, is that I provided an opportunity for OTR. Now let me define what OTR is. OTR is research-based. It's called opportunities to respond. The research says students who do not have enough opportunities to respond in a classroom while receiving instruction do poorly academically. There is a strong relationship between students' opportunities to respond. So knowing this, what we did was we made sure that Katie was involved in the class. She had an equal opportunity to participate and respond to the teacher. Here's what we did. We knew Katie did not want to stand out and give the wrong answer, so we planted the question. We planted some of the questions so Katie could look smart. So she asked the question, and we prepared some of the questions she should be asking for math, for reading, social studies, or science. The other thing we did for opportunities to respond is that we wanted to hear Katie's voice during a choral response. Did you all get that? And you all said yes. And then we want to hear if Katie said yes. We were going to make sure that Katie was also included in that. That's a choral response.